Okay. Okay. So here now I've created a new folder. I mean, new project. Okay. This
Okay.
is created with the latest version, which is recently released.
Okay.
That is so you can see here. Like, see. So last time we have created 6 version because uh, my Node.js and NGCLI were not able to
Mm-hmm.
compatible with the latest version of Angular. Okay, hence
Okay.
that was showing an error. Now I'm into a latest mode because
Okay.
so this is the latest version of the Angular. You can see here documents and see latest version stable version is version 9.0.0.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain the features of the latest version of Angular as of now because we are not aware about all these things.
Okay.
But this is what we said. Okay, now we'll resume our class. So we left at here, right? The models are basically, so you might have aware about the different data types of the JavaScript, right? Like currently the JavaScript will not deal with any specific data types, but we have the provision to create a different types of data like string, a number, or date object, or array, or objects. Okay, but hence Angular development is using TypeScript. TypeScript is basically the above layer on top of JavaScript. So finally the webpack will convert down into the JavaScript, and that JavaScript will load into a browser. Okay, that is the overview of TypeScript. Hence
Yeah.
the TypeScript is basically dealing with by name type. Type means basically different data types. Okay, so we can create our own data types. For example, you might have seen a different user object, right? Username
Yes.
and age, address. So username is a string, age is a number, address is a string, right? So
Yeah.
hence we can create those kind of models in the TypeScript. I'll show you in the practical. So this is a theory, I'll show you in practical. Okay, this is a sample page of Angular. See, I'm in the latest new page,
Okay.
the basic Angular 9. Now I'll go to my this, I'll kill this. Okay, I'll kill the session. Now I'll create ng G for generate, C for component, and user I will create. Okay, I think you have seen this last class.
Yeah.
Okay, now it will create in the app folder. Here user component will get create by using ngCli. It creates .html file, .scss file, .ts file, and .spec file. Spec file used for unit testing. So hence it is a little slow. Please kindly bear with me that. And this okay. So it is created. Now I'm going to inject this user component, app user, into the main app component. So I'll delete all these things. Okay, just I'll use app user. Okay, still it is getting compiled. Okay. Now, meanwhile, we can create one file called user.info.model. User.model.ts. This is a extension of a model we can create. Export class and user. So use it user. Okay. Export class user, and we can create constructor for this class, and we can create I'll use the caps letter for this. Hence this is a different kind of data. So this, or I'll use public of data type and name of type string. Okay, now public age of type number. Okay, and public address of type string. Now here I'm reading these values. And here's name, age, and address. Okay, so this dot name is equal to name, and this dot age is equal to age, and this dot address is equal to address. So this, so we created one kind of a model, I mean the schema kind of things. Okay, now I will go to my user component. Okay, I will create a public variable that is called user info of type user. See, it is getting imported, correct? I'm creating a variable of type user here. Now inside my ng on init, so I will create so this of type, I'll assign a value. Okay, you might have seen this. This dot user info dot c. So these properties are coming from the model. Okay, now I'll use name user one. Okay, now I'll assign this dot user info dot age some 28. So if I try to assign a string value here, see here, it throws an error. You're able to see?
Yeah.
So the 20 is not assignable to type of number. So this type script will help us to validate in terms of data type. Okay.
Okay.
Now 28 is a number. Now this dot user info dot address some colony. Okay, this is my user object. So this data you might have get it from any other service or backend. So now if I'm trying to create new object inside this, so I'm not able to see anything. Okay, see, or something like what old address. So I'm not able to create it all. It's showing it's not defined. So it shows an error. If I save it, so this is saving. See here, user info of this one is not defined. You'll see the error here. Does not exist of type user. So I'll delete this. Now you can create any data type on your wish. So correct, and this is one advantage of TypeScript. And now I am going to bind these values to my HTML. I can show that later. Before going to this model, I have other information here. So what admin user info. So I can create of type any. This is a purely object. I can create any properties inside there. This dot admin user info. So I can create any keys here. So this will not validate. So here we are in kind of using this model will avoid a lot of logical errors. Sometimes in the future in the huge project we'll get an error like something you are trying to add a string to a number. So rather than getting those logical errors in the later point of view, you can get all those errors in the while writing the code itself only. So is this clear?
Yes.
Any doubts on this?
No.
So this is a model.
Okay.
Now I can go with this HTML. Okay, user info. I will delete this. I will create UL li. Okay, now I can bind these values. So that is called interpolation. Okay, I think before that, now I have a value in my component. This is coming from some service or something. We'll see that later. Okay, but as of now, this is hard code values. Correct, name and everything, but I need to show to the HTML to the user. Now I'll go to my HTML. Okay, I will create name.
Vittal, I have one question.
Yeah.
Now you are writing the syntax in TypeScript, right?
Yes.
Like public and all. So I was not, I mean, I never used TypeScript. So should I go through the TypeScript tutorial to get a better understanding about the
No,
syntaxes
no.
and all?
In initially, sorry. Initially, you face the difficulties. Okay, but as day by day, if you keep on practice this Angular, right? So it will help you to proceed with that. You no need to learn specifically TypeScript for Angular.
Okay.
But if you have a time and if you have a interest, so you can go and study TypeScript. But I'm going to cover basic of TypeScript a little later.
Okay.
Okay, because I need to introduce few concept of Angular. After that, is better to create. Better to deal with the TypeScript.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
understand only this much is enough for you. So, if you have any doubt, let me know. I can clear it now only. So, this is a way of creating custom data types in Angular or TypeScript.
Okay.
So earlier in JavaScript, you used to like do like this, right? Where user equal to like this, correct, right?
Yeah.
So rather than creating like this, so we are strictly defining a type of that. Okay, but since little about Java, right? So just not much idea. So at the moment you create a type of variable, so we have to use that colon of type this user. This is a variable name of type user.
Okay.
This is object of type any, means you can assign any value like object, string, date, but this is not a good practice to use for all the case. This is not the good practice. Okay.
Probably we will use any when we don't know what type of values we might get. But generally,
Correct. In that case, if you integrate any third-party libraries like D3JS or DHTML like Gantt chart, in that case, you doesn't know what are the properties it is coming dynamically. In that case, you can use any, but maximum time try to use a different set of models. That is help you in terms of code maintenance and to handle the logical errors in the compile time only, not in the production.
okay.
You make use of this practice, okay, then only you'll understand this. Now I'll go to my HTML here. See, if I type user dot, what is that, user info, right? So I am accessing the TypeScript variable inside my HTML. Okay, this is called interpolation. Interpolation is nothing but basically binding a TypeScript value or values to the HTML page, like to page, and I'm not good in spelling. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
I'm on mute. Sorry. Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. Now I have binded my all this information, I mean the values to the HTML. So this syntax, the double curly braces, this is called interpolation. So this is my object which is declared here. Okay, user info. Now I'm accessing each of properties using dot notation. So I think you are aware about this one, right? How to access
Yes,
the property.
I'm aware of this.
So now if you see something went wrong, what is this? User info. Okay, I'll go to this. Compiled successfully. Public of type user dot name. Do I need to use, because since this is, I need to use this thing, not required. Okay, let me try with only p tag. Any error? I think there's some syntax is changed in Angular 9. I don't know. Okay.
At least name, age, and address, that text should come, right? Though the data is not
Yeah,
coming.
yeah, correct. And, some syntax has been changed. Let me check. Component title. Go to this. Correct. No? They're using same thing, right? So the title they created. What class? No, what I've done wrong? Any guess? Just saying some error. The type cannot set property name of undefined. What is undefined here?
User info. Probably you need to include that model file in your component.
I think not required. Let me make it any. Same error, na? See, he's using right like this thing. Sample app is running. So what is wrong with this? Title and okay. So rather than making here app components, I'll use user of type user, close it, and here well implements. So I'll cover this later. Okay, implements enjoy on it. So life cycle comment. So with this, okay. Correct, na? It's not making any sense. Okay. So I have to initialize the variable at the time of this only, but it should work the mg on init method because I'm getting the values. You understand the problem?
Yeah, I understood you are
Because
initializing
here
it. Yeah,
initializing it here only,
yeah.
but it should work as of maybe they change little structure in Angular 9. I will
Oh,
get back to you on this. Okay, so I'll
okay.
go back to my code. Okay, now here app user, and I'll go to my here. I will unpack and comment this, go to this, and go to my user component. Rather than creating here, I'll copy paste type user, and then I'll send the value here. So this is how you have to tackle the all kind of errors. In this object, I need to use key value pair and equal to assign. Okay. Now, as of now, I'll comment this. We'll see the what. Okay, yes, and this one. But this also we can do it here as well, and because in asynchronous data and all those things we have to use ng on it, but there we have to use some event emitter or the asynchronous nature of dealing with Angular. So I mean for next classes I'll be explaining that why it is not display at the moment I assign the value on the ng on it. Okay.
Okay.
So you understand the interpolation. Basically, I have a data in the in the TypeScript. I need to bind to the this one to the HTML.
Mm.
So this is how we can. This syntax is called interpolation. I mean the
Interpolation.
string interpolation. So any doubts on this?
No.
Now we'll explain event binding. Event binding is basically the events, the click event, that this. So I have a button here. Okay, button and click me. This is the value of that button. Okay, now here I'm assigning a event. It is called click, and this is my event name on. This is how you have to create button click. Okay, this method to copy this and define in your HTML after ng on it or something wherever, but it should be within a class. Okay, console dot log button has been clicked. So we'll check the output. So now button is in the HTML we created. Now we are assigning an event. Okay, and this bracket is called a one way of data binding. Okay, this curly bracket, not curly, parenthesis. So I'll explain two-way binding how it works, but as of now you remember, if you use single parenthesis, this is called one-way data binding. Okay, click.
Okay.
This is name of the event.
Yeah.
And at the moment I click that button, this method will get triggered, which is defined in the component within a class. Okay, let's see the output. Let it load. Okay, now click. See, button has been clicked. Okay, this is called event binding. You can use any event. Any event. Click, double click is there, no? Double click, change event, any HTML event which is defined HTML events. On this, on error, oh no, not this, wait. Okay, on click on, but here the way of terminology is a little different. On click in the pure JavaScript or HTML we use like on click, but in Angular we can use a different word. So we go to this events and search in the Angular events. Go to this ng click. Angular list of events. You can go to a cheat sheet. Button click, and there are many events. I think not able to get the list of that. Let's check this here. This is in Angular version, Angular 1 version. On click, press on key press. So basically you have to remove the on method, on suffix from all the method, all the default HTML events.
Okay.
Okay, so default HTML events like this. You can get it in the net. You can use any events on the on change, on click, on mouse over. Instead of that, we have to use. So I'll copy it, mouse over. I'll make and paste it here. Let's just check. See, mouse over. Okay, this is event binding. So use any event name, default HTML events, and on the after happening this event, this method should trigger. So this is called event binding. Means basically event is propagating from HTML to the TypeScript. This is called one-way data binding.
Yeah.
Okay, any doubts on this?
No.
Okay, now property binding. Property binding is basically this only. This we are using here, right? This
Yeah.
property binding to, because see here we are emitting data from HTML to a TypeScript, correct? So
Yeah.
I can pass a data as well here, some info. Okay, I can read it like that in the mouse over. Go to this. I'll my message. Okay, of type string. Okay, now I can console that as well. So basically I'm passing a data from HTML to a TypeScript. In future, I mean in the project, we require this kind of flexibility. What it is saying? Error. Okay. Something it is saying. Let's see what is error. Error occurs in the template of component user component. What is that? Let's check. That works or not. See, it is getting trigger, right? Some info. I'm getting passed from HTML to TypeScript or component. HTML to component. So I can pass this as well here. Username.info directly. So this is a string. Okay. I'll copy this. And rather than passing the event string, I can use because this is the native object, native object, I can directly pass. Okay, and this should be a click. I'll use click and click to. I'm passing directly from HTML to the TypeScript using this syntax. What is this? Argument of type user is not assigned to a parameter of type string. Yes, I agree. So if you go to this method, on button click, okay, because it's saying I'm reading here as a parameter as a string, okay,
Yeah.
but I'm passing as an object here. So this is basically a strict validate of data.
Mm.
Okay, now I'll
But if
use
you pass user info dot name, it will
it will come.
Yeah.
So rather than creating like this, I will create one more method, button click to, and here I'll use user. Okay, of type user I'm passing, right? See here.
Yeah.
Correct, directly user info object. So now there's no error. Let it compile. Okay, click to. See, entire object is getting passed from HTML to TypeScript. Okay, this is called event binding, and interpolation is done, HTML in template is done, binding syntax is done, property binding we saw that, event binding we saw, two-way binding. You want to see today or tomorrow? What is the time? 8:37.
Yeah, it would be better if we do it tomorrow, because I
Okay,
only blocked 1 hour time.
okay,
It's
okay.
already done.
Okay, we'll explain the two-way binding. Basically, the two-way binding is the passing data from TypeScript to HTML, HTML to TypeScript
Yeah,
seamlessly.
both ways.
That is called two-way binding.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll cover this remaining topic
Yeah, sure.
tomorrow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks. Let's continue tomorrow then.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye.